I'm literally crying over words on paper. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chia, and in today's video I'm going to be attempting a readathon, but not a 24-hour readathon because I've tried those in the past and they just didn't work out for me. They just take too long for me to do, and also I don't do the straight 24 hours because I value sleep more than anything. If you try to catch me on a day without any sleep, it's just gonna be really bad for me. So instead of doing the 24-hour readathon challenge, I decided to do a 12-hour one. I've been seeing this like on my booktube lately, and a lot of people have been doing this instead of 12 hours, and I got the idea from Bailey Reads and also a creator named Izzy Reads. I'll tag her below. They decided to do a 12-hour challenge, and I thought that would be great. Instead of doing a 12 straight hour challenge, I'm going to be doing 6 hours today and 6 hours tomorrow. I feel like that's so much more doable than it is compared to 12 hours straight through. This is going to be my potential TBR. I'm definitely focusing more on my March TBR because I'm so close to being done with 2 of the books on my March TBR. The third one, I'm not too sure if I'm going to get to it, but I know I'm a little bit a quarter of the way through in the third one. But the 2 books I'm going to focus on is first Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I'm already 157 pages into it. What chapter is this? Chapter 14. I think this is the last book on the backlist for Emily Henry. So once I finish with Book Lovers, I'm completely caught up on all her contemporary romance books. This is following a character named Nora, and she is a literary agent, and so she has sort of like this rivalry with somebody named Charlie. They're not really rivals, I guess you could say. They just met one day because they were trying to talk about a client that she has over lunch, and they just had a bad interaction. She has a younger sister who is currently 6 or 7 months pregnant. They all live in New York, and her sister convinces her to go out of town and go relax somewhere for like a month. So they go to this town called Sunshine Falls. It was featured in one of like a contemporary romance author that she is a literary agent for, so they decided to go there. So she and her sister are going there for vacation so they can unplug and spend some time together before her sister gives birth. And that's where I'm at right now. The second book on my monthly TBR that I want to focus on is The Serpent and the Wolf by Rebecca Robinson. This is a sort of like a short fantasy romance. It's less than 400 pages. I'm on page 177, chapter 14, and I'm having an okay time with it so far. I'll probably tell you more about it as I go on. I'm pretty confident that I'll be able to finish both these books in this readathon because they're so short, and also I'm already halfway through both of them. The last book I have left on my TBR for March is City of Glass by Cassandra Clare. This is the 3rd book in the Moral Instrument series. I've been talking about this for the past couple of months, how I'm working my way through the whole entire Shadowhunter universe, because I have read Infernal Devices, the Last Hour series, and now since like the first book of the Wicked Powers trilogy is coming out at the end of this year around November time, because I want to reread the whole entire universe and get to also the Dark Artifices books because I've never read those before, and I've never read any of the novellas either. So I have the full-on reading order that I will link down below if you want to check it out. You don't necessarily have to read every single book in the universe, but I love Easter eggs, and also Shadowhunters is one of my favorite universes of all time. So I'm always trying to connect the dots in like different ways, and I love like little Easter eggs and how everyone's like kind of connected in the same universe. So I really want to reread the whole entire thing. I'm on chapter 6, page 133. These books I do have to stop in the middle of chapters because Cassandra Clare is known for her long chapters. The longest chapter I ever read from her was probably like 50 or 60 pages, but the good thing about her chapters is that she has little breaks in between where it switches to different POV. You're not really following the same person in the whole entire chapter the whole entire time, which I love, and I'm hesitant on like finishing this in this video because I still have a good 400 pages to go. It's almost like a 600 page book. It's 540 pages, but I really do want to prioritize this. And for the potential, if I do end up like not picking that up, I do have some very buzzed about books right now that I've been wanting to pick up, but the first one is Stage Set for Villains. This is by Shannon J. Span. This is her debut book. I guess like it has to deal with these people who are called the players, and they are actors in these plays that people watch. They actually have magical powers and they've been blessed by the gods or something, and they're immortal. I am a big theater kid. I love the theater. I love musicals. I pretty much grew up watching a bunch of theater shows, and I used to be in a drama program when I was in high school, so this would be like speaking right to me, and it's within like my interest. We've never had any books that are based on theater before, so I'm very excited about this because I've heard it's really good. Another potential one is Half City by Kate Golden. Have I picked up the Dawn of Onyx trilogy? No, I have not. It's still sitting in my TBR cart, but I've heard amazing things about this because apparently it also mixes with like demon hunting characters. So I want to see if this book is good. And the last one that's on my potential TBR for this 12-hour challenge, which I am being so ambitious for, I just want to leave myself open to a lot of books. So the third one, this one also just came out. I think it came out last month. This is called Stolen Midnights by Catherine Quinn. This has similar Regency vibes to Rose Bargain, which I absolutely loved from last year. So now I'm like searching for different Regency based books. We shall see what my mood takes me. I might be just trying to finish this soon. Contemporary romance are so easy for me to finish, so this is going to be my first one that I'm reading, and I'll probably move on to The Serpent and the Wolf. So let's get started. Hi friends, excuse my appearance. I had been like literally crying for the past like 30 minutes for the ending of this book. As soon as I got to page 310, I started bawling my eyes out. I didn't realize how badly this book would affect me and also how much I related to the main character of Nora so much. She has so much things going on in her life that she has to feel like she has to control all the time. So I don't know if I talked about it, but oh, by the way, I finished it and I have about 8 hours and 22 minutes left on the clock. It's about 10:09 p.m. right now, so I might read another hour before I go to sleep. I was not really able to get to the 6-hour mark that I wanted to because today was my mom's birthday and we ended up going out to dinner with her and a bunch of my family members. So of course, obviously that was priority. So this one, unfortunately, I had to not read until like maybe a few hours later, but I did end up finishing it. It took me about 3 hours to finish, 3 hours and 38 minutes. If I could do math right, I obviously can't do math right now, but this was so good. I didn't realize how much it was going to affect me. So we follow a character named Nora. She's a literary agent who lives in New York with her sister Libby, and she's always taking care of her younger sister, and so she ends up going to a place called Sunshine Falls for like a slight vacation during summertime because her sister wants to use this as their like last hurrah before she has her third baby. She's pregnant, 6 or 7 months pregnant or something, and they have a list of stuff that they want to do because Sunshine Falls is based on a book that one of Nora's clients wrote, and so basically they want to go there to visit all the places that was like remarked in the book. But then when they get there, they realize that like maybe Sunshine Falls is not as picturesque, and so all the stuff that she wrote about was like kind of like glamorized and everything doesn't look as cookie cutter as it wants to be. And so she's always so focused on making sure her sister's not disappointed because she feels like her and her sister have been like kind of fading away from each other for the past few months. She feels like there's a divide there that she wants to fix. Since it's her and her sister only left, their mom passed away when they were like teenagers. Her sister was still in high school and she was barely in college, and so she has a lot of like kind of PTSD and trauma from that. And so she has had to take on the role of being a mom to her sister because their dad abandoned them when they were kids. She's always taken on the big role of being like a older sister, and not only an older sister but a mom. Like if you read small town romance where the male character ends up coming to this small town to actually like help out with a family member or take a vacation or something, any of those like plot devices, and they always have like a career driven snarky shark woman back in the city that they left behind because they want a more small town, calm, like more wholesome kind of like person, and that's always like usually what happens in some small town romances. Well, in this case, Nora is that career driven snark woman that like the male characters always leave, and so she's always commented on that in her life, in her books, because she is seen as cold, but yet there's a lot of things going on behind the scene that make her that way, and she feels that she's always had to make herself available for certain things and certain people and her clients and her family because of the stuff that she's experienced in her past. 2 years before she left to go to Sunshine Falls, she ends up meeting with somebody named Charlie, and who is also a fellow literary agent. No, he's an editor, and she's trying to shop around her client's work. And funnily enough, the book that he passes on is based on Sunshine Falls, which he actually is from. So that's the reason why he passed on the story. I think the main reason why I love this book so much is because they always made it seem like the career woman in the small town romance books has always been the snarky one that she deserves to be alone, but she technically is the career-driven woman. So of course she has read these romance books all her life because obviously she loves books as a literary agent, and she's always felt so unseen by these books. But yet Charlie sees her in a way that no one has ever seen her before, and he's made her feel like she doesn't have to change anything about herself in order to make herself fit into this cookie cutter mold. And so like there's so many quotes that were hard hitting in this book. I loved it so much. In my head there's so much things that you have to, like, especially with anxiety, I have to make sure to do certain things to make sure that everything runs according to plan. I don't know, it's like I really felt what she was feeling. I understood what she was feeling. I felt that she was not seen as she wanted to be seen, and she felt that her sister was always the one who saw her best out of sight of everyone, because her sister's not only the one she's like taking care of, but it's also her best friend. And then when this like breaking point starts going between them, because she feels like her sister's trying to keep something from her, it just starts making her spiral. So because of her spiraling, she ends up trying to hold on even tighter onto things and becoming more type A and trying to stave off this relationship with Charlie because she doesn't feel like she deserves it. And I loved her relationship with Charlie. Like I said, he saw her the way everyone else didn't see her. He saw past that, and he saw her despite everything else, and how he was there for her and held her and cared for her despite not trying to get anything from her in return. I love their relationship so much, and I love the fact that there was a big conflict at the end, but it wasn't third act breakup style. It was just that they were right people at the wrong time, unfortunately, because he had to make decisions for himself too that would not make the relationship work at the given moment. So she had to choose finally herself. Outside of taking care of her sister, she had to find out what she wanted and go after herself, and stopped trying to take care of every single little thing. I felt that so much, especially like towards the end when she had this heart-to-heart with her sister, and I started bawling at that point because I related so much, and I felt how she, oh my god, I'm going to tear up thinking about it, how much she loves her sister so much. I'm an older sister myself. I love my sister so deeply, and I felt everything Nora was feeling. I love this book so much, and I think this is my new #1 Emily Henry book. Oh my god. I'm glad I didn't film my reaction, because literally it would have just been me for 30 minutes like bawling my eyes out. And I love this book so much. I'm gonna read you some quotes that I took pictures of because I loved how amazing they were. And there was this quote where she like wrote about the feelings of a book. "This book has crushed me with its weight and dazzled me with its tiny bright spots. Some books you don't read so much as live, and finishing one of those always makes me think of ascending from a scuba dive. Like if I surface too fast, I might get the bends." It's hard to explain to people who like don't really read books. I'm literally crying over words on paper, and yet because of the emotions that these authors invoke in their characters and making them so relatable that you can't help but feel the way they're feeling. And so there's another one where she's talking about kind of like the feelings she has for Charlie. "I feel an uncanny ache. This is what looking at Charlie is like sometimes, like a gut punch of a sentence, like a line so sharp you have to set the book aside to catch your breath." This has to be my favorite quote of the whole entire story, and I think the reason why I started like crying. "Maybe love shouldn't be built on a foundation of compromises, but maybe it can't exist without them either. Not the kind that forces two people into shapes they don't fit in, but the kind that loosens their grips, always leaves room to grow. Compromises that say there will be a U-shaped space in my heart, and if your shape changes, I will adapt. No matter where we go, our love will stretch out to hold us, and that makes me feel like everything will be okay." So highly recommend. I obviously gave this a 5 stars because usually if a book makes you cry, it's usually a high rating. And I was so caught off guard on how much I related to Nora as a character. Their banter was absolutely amazing. I loved her interactions with Charlie. Like it wasn't forced. Yeah, they had a bad interaction when they first met, but the fact that they had such a bad interaction, they felt like they didn't have to hide themselves from each other. So every single time they had like interactions where they're bantering or saying snarky stuff to each other, they were being themselves, and it was such good banter. And a lot of these lines made me laugh so hard, and I loved being in Nora's head because she was so funny too. And also I love the fact that it didn't glamorize small towns in this book. A lot of the small town romances, like I said, love to focus on everyone giving up their city life or giving up their career so that they can fit into this cookie cutter life that they have in the white picket fence. But sometimes that life is not for everyone. These were the overall themes I loved about it, and I highly recommend picking this up. Since I said that I probably will read for another hour or so, I might listen to this on audiobook. I've been enjoying my time more on this on audiobook than I have reading it, because I'm not gonna lie, the first few chapters of this book I rolled my eyes so many times. There's like a whole entire list I feel like the author has that she just wanted to go through and check off all these tropes. Literally in the 2 or 3 chapters we had a 1 bed trope, then a 1 horse trope, then like all of a sudden maybe 100 pages in, we started seeing a little bit more character growth with the female main character, and I started liking it more then, but I'm still waiting for the other shoe to drop because yes, it's a fast character development that I feel like she's having, yet not enough for me to actually care about her. We'll see how this book ends up going. I will give you my full thoughts maybe later tomorrow when I have more coherent thoughts, and like I will give you in-depth explanation of the plot, because even right now I'm still really confused about the plot and where it's going. So we'll see. I think I mentioned already, but I have 8 hours and 22 minutes left if it could focus. Yeah. So I'm gonna see if I could read one more hour and then probably finish the rest of my hours tomorrow. I wish I had more today, but obviously I had like other stuff to do, so I'll check back in when I have an update. Hello everyone. It is currently the next day and I did get an hour off my time last night. I am currently at 6 hours and 33 minutes and I am on chapter 22 and I have about like maybe 50 pages left of this, and I still think it's okay. So we follow a character named Vasa. She was arranged to be married to a foreman named Reed. He is supposedly a part of this like vicious like country where they're all brutes and everything. At least that's what her like whole entire country has always told her. And of course we start off with her on her wedding night, and so she is preparing to escape. And with Reed, he comes into the room and she ends up like tying him up and then threatens him saying not to go after her, and she ends up escaping. I think we time jump a little bit, maybe a few months, and she's like studying in this sodality and she's trying to find a background behind like the magic that she has. She has this dark magic that like she doesn't know what to do with. Apparently she inherited from her mom, and her brother was basically the one who arranged marriage her off to Reed. And so Reed ends up finding her, of course, and ends up making a deal with her saying that if she can come and help him win this election that he's being a part of to become the headman of these like different world, and they don't have kings here, he wants to be a headman over all these foremen. In return, he would like help her with her magic to help her contain it or help her learn more about it. Pretty much the typical start of every single fantasy romance out there. And like I mentioned last night, I don't know how to feel about it because I'm not too sure if I like it. Probably 90% of the way through, and I just don't know how to feel about it. I don't feel anything for the characters. I just feel like I don't really have a sense of what Vasa is like. It literally is the same basic of every single fantasy romance. It's more politic leaning rather than like focusing on the fantasy and the romance part. When they're going around and trying to win political alliances, like I like the fact that it's really unique in that point where it's more politics forward, and it's showing right now that they are starting to care for each other and they're starting to get to know each other. I don't know how they start caring about each other. I don't know what about Reed that she started liking besides him like helping to protect her and take care of her, and I don't really care about her, and I'm just honestly bored. Like, it's not a terrible book, don't get me wrong. I just feel like it was trying to force such a relationship on us and trying to force us to care about these characters just so we can get to the politics of this whole entire world. And also I want more of the fantasy, but yet like I said, it's more political forward. I'll probably finish within the next like hour or so. I don't know what book I want to move on to next. I was thinking of like just finishing my March TBR by finishing City of Glass, but I still have like a good 400 pages on that, so I doubt I'm gonna finish it within the next like 6 hours. I'm not a fast reader. I think I posted a short like a few months ago where I recorded how much I read in an hour. I think in that video I read about like 60 something pages, which is pretty average because there are some people who can read about 100 plus pages per hour. I wish I could be a speed reader like that and still comprehend, but I just am not that person. So I could continue on with City of Glass or start a new book, but I'm not too sure yet. I'll see how I feel after this, but let me finish the rest of this book right now. So again, let's start the timer. I don't like his nickname for her. If you don't want to know, I'm just gonna type it on the screen if you don't want to know the nickname, but I just don't like it. There's nothing creative about it. I don't get it. This is nice and all, but I wish we had more backing towards this. This is really fast. 5 hours and 45 minutes on the clock. The ending was actually really good. I could see why a lot of people get like really shocked by the ending. I thought it was really good. It's just I don't really like how the execution was. I don't like that we didn't have enough time with the characters. 340 pages. I feel like it was so trying to be fast paced and too plot forward that we just didn't get enough time with the characters to actually figure out why we care about them. It's like we were trying to, again, tick the boxes of the trope, but also trying to get to a part where the plot was really interesting. It's just that I don't care enough about the characters. Don't know if I'll continue the series or not. It was just okay. I get that the ending was not as predictable as I thought it was going to be, and I thought it was cool how it all came about. Again, I just wish we had more time building up the characters, building up their relationships, because all of them are actually really cool. I really like the witch part of it. I think I'm just gonna settle on a 3 stars for this. But let's move on to another book. I'm not too sure what I want to pick up next. Like I said, I might pick up one of these two for the next fantasy, or I'm actually thinking of also picking up Wedding People because I'm kind of wanting to take a break a little bit from that fantasy, or maybe just pick up one of the other fantasies. What I'm gonna do is probably read the maybe first paragraph of each book to see which one is like the one that catches my attention most. Okay, so I might not be picking this up yet. I'm not really in the mood for it, and also since like it's academic, I feel like it's more set for fall. We'll see. I might still pick it up in the next few months. So it's either between these two, because this one, it seems so Regency vibes, and also I want to cleanse my palate a bit since I just read a fantasy that I really didn't necessarily like. I kind of want to pick up a literary fiction, so I'm gonna do what I do where I read 2 books at once. So I think I'm going to alternate between these two. I'll read like maybe a few chapters of this and then alternate to this. Like I said, I'm such a mood reader that I like having multiple books to read at once, but I'm gonna read this one first. I will keep you updated on how I get along with this. Same thing with this. So first chapter check-in at 5 hours and 18 minutes. Follows a character named Phoebe who literally just had a divorce with her husband, and she has gone to this expensive resort where she sees like a bunch of people coming in for a wedding in the lobby. She is observing like the wedding people who are there for the wedding, and she doesn't like have names for them, and then she runs into the bride and she basically confesses to the bride that she's here not because she's a part of the wedding, because the bride basically mistakes her to be part of the wedding from her husband's side or her big family side, and tells her that no, she is here to basically unalive herself. And so the bride gets all shocked and everything, says no, oh, you can't do that during my wedding week because everyone's there for her wedding. And it's kind of like a dark comedy at first. We shall see how this turns out. I can't even predict on how this is going to end. This was the perfect book to move on to after like such a mediocre fantasy. Okay friends, update time. I currently have 1 hour and 58 minutes left on the clock. I am determined to finish it today. I didn't think it would last like 2 days, but here we are. I ended up like getting really sleepy last night, so I didn't have any motivation to pick up any more books. I do have some updates. I am about 126 pages into The Wedding People. I'm actually really liking this. It's a lot more funnier than I thought it was going to be, especially for the dark like subject that it's about what Phoebe has chosen to do when she goes into this like resort of Cornwall and meeting a lot of like the wedding people, as the book is titled, where she interacts with them. She sees the person that the bride is, and it's funny how she gives like nicknames to all these different like wedding people, and she actually is starting to interact with them more because Lila has been inviting her to a few things because she doesn't want her to ruin her wedding by, you know, unaliving herself. It's going back and forth between the past and how she has come to this realization that she wanted to do what she wanted to do, and then like she is going through the motions of like thinking about all the stuff that she hasn't done in her life and like the ambitions that she's never been able to accomplish because of like her lack of motivation. And not only that, but trying to become a wife. She and her husband unfortunately have gone through infertility issues and they haven't been able to get pregnant despite all the IVF trials that they've had to go through, and also watching how her husband slowly fell out of love with her. She is seeing like Lila from like different lights because she is now seeing how Lila has been in with her and been open about talking about a lot of stuff about her family, because they have no stakes in this whole entire thing. They don't know each other. They might never see each other ever again after this weekend, but the fact that they are strangers who don't really know each other, they're brave enough to tell each other the truth of what's going on. So that's why I'm loving this, because there's a certain amount of truth that you want to say to people who don't really know you. They don't have like the knowledge of who you were before, who you are now, or like the biases that they have for you. And now Phoebe is observing like the different people that are part of Lila's life and are coming from different corners of her life and interacting with each other, and maybe they don't really like all meld together, and yet they have come together to try to celebrate Lila on her wedding day, but then it's not really picture perfect. And I'm really liking it. It's very dark comedy humor, yet I actually really like the approach to it. So that's what I'm feeling so far. And then Stolen Midnights, I've gotten just a little bit in. I'm like 67 pages in, chapter 6. It's alternating points of view between two people, Ren and Damien. So this basically starts off with Ren about to turn 18, and in her family, they're part of like the higher earning family and like the favored ones by the fates. And so because her family is one of the favored ones, all of the members of her family have gotten a sort of gift when they turn 18. She's been looking forward to this all her life. Her family each have like really good gifts, like a physical item that is tied with like an actual magical gift. And then we have another POV where it's Damien, and in this story, Ren is about to receive her gift, but she never receives it. And so she unfortunately has to deal with the aftermath of not receiving her gift, the aftermath of society judging you for not getting your gift. And Damien has been basically commissioned to steal this gift from like a phantom shadow dog that is supposed to give it to Ren, but he intercepts, steals the locket, and so when he steals it, he opens it, because curiosity killed the cat, and sees his picture in it. And so he is trying to figure out what's going on right now, and they've had interaction already because he is like a thief, so he has to go into this secret sort of like mission he has where he infiltrated this ball, and she's there, and she ends up trying to chase him down because she's not a regular like cookie cutter like rich person. She's trying to break the mold from it. She's tired of being underestimated because she's been the underestimated person of society. She doesn't want to get married at all. So that is like the part I am at right now, and their interaction, their meet cute basically, was so funny. I loved it so much, and it had me giggling the whole entire time. So I'm gonna continue on and hopefully finish it today. Like, not finish the book today, but finish my time today, and let's see how far I can get. More minutes. We're done, and I got to page 223. This video is done, obviously, because our timer went off. I am going to put how many total pages I ended up reading in the 12 hours that I was actively reading. I don't know at this point right now because editing Chia is going to take care of that. So just to recap everything that I finished. So I did end up finishing Book Lovers. I love this. You already know how much I gushed about it, and I think this is my new #1 Emily Henry book. I'm going to be doing a ranking now of all Emily Henry books I've read since I've pretty much caught up on all of the contemporary romance she's written. So this might be #1 now. So we'll see where all the other books like rank up, but absolutely love this. I gave this a 5 stars, and then I ended up finishing this. So it's good that I ended up finishing 2 books. Granted, I was halfway on both of them, but yet finishing a book is still finishing a book. So this one, after thinking about it, it was okay to me. The ending was good, and I actually really liked how it ended because there was like enough of a cliffhanger there that if I ever wanted to continue on with the series, I would want to maybe know, but there's not even like a spark inside of me that wants to even pick up the next book. So I think I might be DNFing the series. I'm at this point where if the first book is just terrible, I'm not going to pick up the rest of the series. The only time I'll pick up the second book is if there's something in there that I do really want to like learn more about. I don't want to sit through a whole entire book just to figure out what happens at the end, so I might just like look it up later, who knows. But unfortunately this was a miss for me, even though I was looking forward to it, but thankfully I did get it off my physical TBR. And then the 2 books we we did start was Stolen Midnights by Catherine Quinn. I'm still having a good time with this. It's just I wanted to focus on reading this book more because it's literary fiction. It was the one that was catching my attention more, but I did end up getting up about 67 pages in. Hopefully I'll finish it by the end of this month, so you'll definitely hear about it either in my monthly wrap-up or next month's monthly wrap-up when I do end up finishing it. I do still have other books that I'm like trying to prioritize before the end of this month because I still have one more book to read on my TBR that I didn't end up picking up in this vlog. I am almost done with this. I'm like 100 pages away. I'm on page 223 and I'm not even too sure what chapter I'm on because they have like breaks in the chapter that it breaks it up in between different, you know, days of the wedding. I think I'm on the bachelorette party, and so each part is broken up each day of what event it is, and then there's like different chapters in there where it's not numbered, it's not even titled, it's only the section that's titled, which is like different from like what other books I've read before. I'm really liking it. It's a lot different than I thought it was going to be. She's finding little characteristics that she's felt and like the way she has been like 10 plus years ago in them, so it's almost if like she is also helping them out while she's trying to help herself through this different stuff that ended up getting her to this point of her life where she's depressed, and also why she wanted to unalive herself in this point of her life. And so she's going through these different parts, and I'm liking it because it's still pretty funny. Like, it'll get in depth and you will have like little conversations here and there with different characters where you're getting to the crux of everything, where there's points of being like too embarrassed about doing things that you want, but when you get to a certain point of your life, especially after grief, especially after losing parts of yourself that you thought you would always have and people that you thought you would always have, you start having like different perceptions of everything and why you should have just done what you wanted in the first place without feeling embarrassed. So all of this is like really good lessons, and I love the quotes in here, and I'm really enjoying my time with this. And like I said, it's very quirky and funny. Like, it's trying to even out like the depression and also like the life lessons in here and everything else with like ridiculous humor. It's like really good character analysis, which I love. There's not really a big plot besides like the wedding that's going on, obviously, because it's the wedding people, but I'm really enjoying it, and I'll tell you fully what my rating is once I'm done with the last 100 pages because I'm not too sure. Maybe the ending might change like my thoughts, who knows. This is getting like a good feeling for me so far and high rating, so we'll see at the end of the month in my monthly wrap-up. But that is it for me. Thank you for coming along as I went through this 12-hour readathon, and yeah, it's not like the real 24-hour readathon, but I felt like it was more doable on my part because, as you could see, it took me 3 days to do 12 hours when I could have easily finished the 8 hours that I had left yesterday, or the 6 hours I think I had yesterday. I could have easily finished it off, but sometimes I just don't want to read, and I don't want to force myself to read just because there's like a video going on. I just feel like it would just take the enjoyment out of it, you know? But anyways, that is it for me. I'm done rambling, and if you want more videos like this, like and subscribe. It really does help my channel a lot, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!